How is it going, my heroes, my villains, and everybody in between? Sean Ross here, and welcome back, guys, to another live reaction to My Hero Academia. We are on manga chapter number 304, entitled Izuku Midoriya and Toshinori Yagi.
The true name of my power is one for all. It's a sacred torch. One person improves the power, then hands it off to another person. It continues to grow as it's passed along. It is this cultivated power that allows me to save those who are in need of a hero, the truth behind my strength. And you're next. I can give you my abilities. The time has come for me to tell you the whole truth about me and One for All.
Yo, having those two names in the title for this week's chapter has me so excited for this vestige conversation to finally begin. Because it was already teased at the ending of last chapter when All Might stated he could sense through his own vestige that Deku was about to have this conversation with the past users. And based on everything that has transpired, there is going to be a lot to talk about. So going into this chapter, I'm curious to see how many of the past users will be involved in this conversation and to see what they have to say about both Deku and All Might as this title is suggesting. So, mount ladies and gentle criminals, without further ado, let's dive right into chapter 304. Okay, here we go. Picking up right where last chapter left off, and we can still see All Might sitting by Deku's bedside, holding on to Deku's casted hand. I can feel One for All within the boy, but only very faintly. And now we are diving into Deku's mind, into the vestige dreamscape. How's everyone faring? Aizawa-sensei, Gran Torino, Ryukyu, Ida, Kachan, Endeavor, Todoroki, Hado, Togeda, Rocklock, Manuel. Please be okay, everyone.
It's time!
It's you. You're the ninth.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
It's time you learned.
Yo, let's go. The moment I have been waiting for. Double page spread, and this shot looks amazing. We got Deku now in the vestige world, just standing before all of the past users of One for All, with all of them just sitting in these badass chairs right here.
Behold.
Each of them having their own individual throne to sit on, and it looks like Banjo is kicking off the conversation by stating, "Before you wake up, we gotta have a chat." Everyone take a seat. The One for All Jedi Council is now in session, but sadly, two members are going to be excluded. Looks like the second and third user are pulling an Amajiki right now and are staring at the wall behind everybody.
I can't say anything. I wanna go home.
But there has to be a reason as to why Horikoshi is keeping the identities of these two past users hidden. So if they don't turn around by the end of this conversation, we're probably not going to learn that until like 50 or 100 chapters from now. So let's just continue and see what the other users have to discuss with Deku as we start things off with the first user saying, "Sorry to force this on you in such trying times." And then we skip over the second and third, going straight to the fourth. "This too is destiny." And then we got Banjo chiming in again, the fifth, "Nah, just a matter of timing." And then we got the sixth, "My esteemed colleague Banjo has already spoken to you a bit about this." And then we got the seventh, Nana Shimura, just sitting there, not saying a word. And then the eighth, All Might's ghostly form just sitting upon his throne.
Okay, I'm a ghost.
I don't have answers!
All the predecessors are with me in a dream again. And then we're continuing with the first. Before, we could only interact with you by weaving through the interstices of your flickering consciousness. But that limitation no longer exists. About 4 months ago, my power, that is to say One for All, began growing rapidly, which goes all the way back to the joint battle training when Black Whip first manifested and Deku had his encounter with the first user. Along with that growth, the vestiges of the predecessors within One for All took on more solid forms, and they are now able to communicate with each other.
Know my power.
In the earlier battle, my brother's power drew us out by sheer force, allowing us to appear before you more easily than before. And then we got Banjo stepping up, chiming in yet again. Don't worry though, kiddo, we'll still give you your privacy when you need it. In other words, when you need your private time, we won't be looking on.
Oh no.
Oh right, you ain't got a mouth. And you see Deku touching the lower half of his face, realizing there's still smoke there, even though he's trying to communicate back. But wait, back there, I did manage to speak then. My mouth has formed, just a little bit. And you can see Deku beginning to utter a few words here and there, but it's only select syllables coming out. He's kind of muttering a bit.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Ad o id o l e.
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
And that translates to, what you need to tell me.
Nice.
And you see Banjo like, oh, nice kid, you're beginning to speak, way to go. Allow me to explain.
Whoa! Damn!
I'm sorry, man. I thought this was bad from us.
Let me weave you the tale of my origin.
Yo. And you see the fourth user get up out of his chair and is now just looming intensely over Deku. I am the fourth. My name is Hagake Shinomori. In your last battle, you drew on my power without meaning to.
What's up, Danger?
Danger sense. And Deku is thinking back to when he could sense the danger around him and we saw that lightning bolt effect come over him.
The thing is, I don't really have any control over this power yet. I haven't figured out how to make it my own, but I'm trying.
My spider senses are starting to tingle.
Like, what's up, Danger? Like, what's up, Danger?
I thought I was the only one. You're like me.
That came as a shock to me. And Deku's like, oh, sorry. I get the sense that it would have been better for you to discover Danger Sense in a better setting. That was well said. Yeah, the heat of battle wasn't the prime opportune moment to have this quirk manifest. It would have been a lot better if it came about when he was training with Bakugo and All Might. Shinomori here was a weirdo who shunned modern society for the life of a hermit. And you see Banjo get up and walk over to put his arm around the fourth user.
Nope.
But using Danger Sense, he dodges quickly out of the way to avoid it. And he's like, no, I ain't having this. And Banjo looks pissed. Mine was a terrible era. They were the weirdos, not me. And now these two are fighting it out.
Nope. Fight me. You can't touch this. Get over here! You can't touch this. You can't touch this. Ludicrous speed! Go!
I'll give you any idea how fast I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Autonomous Ultra Instinct.
Activating Black Whip, you see Banjo just lashing out in Shinomori's direction, but activating that Danger Sense is just dodging the attacks effortlessly as he is continuing his conversation with Deku. Do you happen to know how long I lived and what killed me? You died at 40. Not sure what killed you. It wasn't written in All Might's notes, or rather, it was like he wrote something but erased it. I died of old age?
You what?
Wait, what?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
He died at the age of 40, but he says he died of old age. Did One for All, like, shorten his lifespan or something?
Correct!
Old age? He was only 40, though. Banjo and I had no way of knowing my cause of death until Yagi told us after some research. I'll get straight to the point. As for now, One for All cannot be wielded by an ordinary person.
What did you say?
Yo, wait a minute. An ordinary person? Is he talking about like a quirk user?
You're a smart motherfucker, that's right.
Because in MHA, an ordinary person is a quirk wielder. An unordinary person would be like Deku, who was born quirkless. And Deku's like, huh? I possessed One for All the second longest, second only after Yagi. After 18 long years, I evaded All for One and devoted my life to building up power. And we see him in this panel right here, building up that power just by breaking rocks in half in the middle of the woods, and I'm guessing that cave in the background is where he lived his life as a hermit. From the moment I inherited the quirk, I knew I could never defeat that villain, so I decided to spend my turn, so to speak, amassing further strength. In my final years, these cracks appeared on my body. Yo, that's similar to what happened with Shigaraki.
We are the same, though you'd never admit it.
Identical.
So a similar thing was happening with One for All with the fourth user. He built up the power so much to where it overpowered his body, and then the two-line cracks formed going down his face. I thought it was an unknown disease of some sort, or that perhaps I hadn't trained hard enough. But when Yagi dug up my medical history and autopsy report, the truth became clear. I say I died of old age because possessing multiple quirks effectively ate away at my very life. Yeah, so One for All basically shortened his lifespan.
I'm alive.
But wait, that doesn't explain All Might. All Might had it longer than him, and yet All Might is still alive. He didn't die of old age.
And you have to keep reading.
Your life? No way. But hang on a minute. One for All only grew stronger after your time, Shinomori, and All Might managed to hold on to it for much longer. Exactly, Deku. Me and Deku are on the same wavelength. We are asking the same question. How come All Might is still alive and hasn't died of old age? It should have affected him the same way as Shinomori.
That's because the world needs to believe that their symbol of peace is just a natural-born hero.
Is it because All Might was quirkless? Could that be it? Because All Might didn't have a quirk, he didn't suffer the side effects that came with actually having a quirk with One for All, hence by saying it can't be wielded by ordinary people?
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
That brings us to what we must tell you. When Yagi realized that possessing One for All places a terrible burden on the body, he thought the same thing. The others never held it for long, and since they died in battle, Yagi's only other point of comparison was himself, which is why he thought about what Shinomori had that he himself lacked. All Might was quirkless.
Called it.
There it is. Yo, I called it! Using those detective skills and deductive reasoning, it makes sense. Yo! And I love that shot too, of just seeing a young and in-prime All Might right behind Deku.
But you know, I was quirkless too as a kid.
Quirkless? Seriously?
Back then, it wasn't as rare of a thing, but it was still out of the ordinary. Even though I didn't have a power of my own, I had someone who believed in my potential. My master gave me One for All and raised me to become a hero. When we first met, I saw a little of the old me in you. But kid, you've gone beyond my expectations time and time again. One day you're gonna do incredible things with One for All. That's something I truly believe.
It's because he was quirkless. And Deku realizing that is like, wait, he's in that same boat. Both All Might and Deku were quirkless. So that side effect of One for All probably won't affect him as it did the past users, because all the other past users had quirks. But I wonder why, if you're quirkless, it doesn't affect you. Maybe because you're an empty vessel and can be molded around One for All, much like how All Might and Deku have harnessed the power?
Man, I'm tired of being right.
And the first user is just saying, yes. Yagi still lives, but the knowledge he gained was passed to us via his shade in here. He couldn't be entirely sure, so he didn't tell you, but what my brother said confirmed it. He spoke of how a person's essence is hardwired into their quirk factor. But then why would Yagi still appear here when he never had a quirk factor of his own? All this time, we believed that the raw spirits of us predecessors resided within One for All. But in truth, those fragments of consciousness came about with the quirk factors of the 2nd through the 7th successors. That is what One for All contains. Yagi is the sole exception. Only he imbued One for All with a true piece of his consciousness. Yo, and we're using the cups of water to symbolize the power within One for All. A vessel with an existing quirk of its own could not receive One for All without warping and spilling over, and attempting to force it anyway results in a shortened lifespan, as the 4th experienced. For 40 years, Yagi maintained his grip on One for All. It was a perfect fit for his previously empty vessel, and as such, it truly became his quirk.
You may have molded your body into a proper vessel, but you did it in a hurry, so be cautious. The physical backlash of One for All can be intense.
He warned me. I should have listened. I could barely contain this borrowed power, even after 10 months of training.
One day, you'll learn how to control your output. Then you'll be able to adjust exactly how much power you're using.
I just need control?
You're overflowing with energy at the moment. With training, your body will hold it better. Then it's yours to command!
Yo, I like getting this explanation right here. Now we continue with the first user. By some twist of fate, this power that must pass from one to the next wound up being meant for those who lacked power to start with. They are the ones who can draw out its true value. And then Deku is just standing there, letting all of this information wash over him, just taking it all in. You mean, especially now that the predecessor's quirks are manifesting, I definitely can't pass this on to a normal person, to a quirk-wielding individual. One for All can't be transferred anymore. That's what you're saying. Quirkless individuals have all but vanished in your generation, and you're unlikely to come across another who needs such power. Yo, and we have Deku thinking back to the very beginning when All Might chose him, a quirkless person, as his successor.
You told me you didn't have a power, so when I saw this timid, quirkless boy try to save a life, it inspired me to act too. There are stories about every hero, how they became great. Most have one thing in common. Their bodies moved before they had a chance to think, almost on their own. Young man, you too can become a hero.
It really does go to show that All Might made the right call despite not having this information on hand. By passing One for All onto quirkless Deku, he made the right choice because, oh my god, imagine if Mirio was actually the successor and inherited One for All. He would have experienced a shortened lifespan like all of the other past users. So Mirio, in a way, dodged a bullet there, pun intended. None of us knew any of this at the time, but as fate would have it, it passed into his hands and then yours. If only we had found a way to interact with the wielder sooner. So much pain and suffering could have been avoided. And they're thinking about Night Eye with that piece of dialogue right there.
You're passing your One for All onto a quirkless middle school student?
It's the right choice to make. The boy wants to save people.
He can't do that with intentions alone. There are any number of other people who are more suitable.
that doesn't mean he's not worthy. He will wield One for All next.
That's true as well. If Night Eye knew this information, he would have realized that it wasn't going to be Mirio who was the true successor. It would have been Deku. He could have acknowledged Deku, and then we could have possibly even saved Sir Night Eye's life, having him not pursue going down that road to find that right successor for One for All. It would have not drove him to his death. Damn. And then Banjo now chiming in after the first user. You get it now, kiddo? You might be the last wielder of One for All.
And though you will never again be reborn, your name will echo throughout history. Korra, the last Avatar.
And I absolutely love this panel shot right here, showing that shot of Deku just standing there with the shining lights of One for all around him, but coming to that realization, because it cannot be transferred to quirk-wielding people moving forward, and that quirkless individuals are a rarity these days, Deku will most likely be the last One for All user. And that information, that realization is just washing over him as he is staring at his hand. I could be the last one. Ooh, and now we have Nana beginning to speak. That's the real issue. Now, Izuku, tell me, can you kill Tomura Shigaraki?
What?
Yo!
What the fuck?
Is Nana actually asking that question? I did not think I would see those words come out of her mouth. She is asking Deku if he can kill Tomura Shigaraki. She either means that wholeheartedly, or she's talking about the villain that Tenko Shimura turned into. Kind of like, can you kill Tomura Shigaraki and save Tenko Shimura? Could you potentially save my grandson? I am very curious to see how that conversation continues into the next chapter. But that is the end of this chapter. Next chapter hits March 14th.
Tomura Shigaraki, I don't understand you. I don't agree with anything you do, but I do know that this guy doesn't give up. I won't let anyone die!
Kill him. Kill him now.
Only justice will bring peace.
Yo, we learned so much in this chapter. This chapter had so much dialogue and was basically an info dump, but I loved every moment of it. This is what I was expecting going into this chapter, with Deku having a conversation with the past users. And it did not disappoint. And the best part is, it is not over yet. We get to look forward to more in next chapter. But with all this new information, learning about the drawbacks of One for All, learning about the past of the fourth user and how he died of old age at the age of 40, and how being quirkless is the best case scenario when inheriting One for All, and how no quirk users moving forward can inherit this power, and this is all leading to Deku coming to the realization that he is most likely going to be the last wielder of One for All. But going into the next chapter, I am very curious to see Deku's response to Nana Shimura's question of, can you kill Tomura Shigaraki? She is basically asking him to kill her grandson, or at least the villain that her grandson turned into. And as we know, with the last time Deku saw Shigaraki as he was escaping, the thought on his mind was he looked at Shigaraki and he thought he needed saving, that he needed to be saved. So how is Deku going to word his response to Nana? And how is this conversation going to continue into next chapter? So with that, guys, that right there is my live reaction to chapter 304 of My Hero Academia. But for now, I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on the events of this chapter and all the new information we learned about One for All. What are your guys' thoughts on the past of the fourth user, the drawbacks of One for All, Deku most likely being the last wielder of One for All, and how do you think this conversation between Deku and Nana Shimura is going to go into next chapter? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and feel free to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon that you guys can be alerted for every new MHA reaction that pops up on the channel. But if you guys want to talk about other things or talk about MHA outside of YouTube, feel free to also follow me over on Twitter. A link to my Twitter account can also be found in the description down below. That's going to do it for me here, guys. So until next week, when we have chapter 305 of My Hero Academia, I'll talk to you guys next time. But remember, go beyond, plus ultra!